Discover the hidden heartwarming act that will make him choose you over 1,000 others. In the town of Maplewood, the air was charged with excitement. Fair season approached, wrapping itself around families like a warm blanket. Emily, a hard-working single mother, felt the thrill buzzing through her modest apartment. Laughter erupted as 8-year-old Lily twirled in the living room, her wild curls bouncing like flames of joy. It was the small moments that made Emily's heart swell, moments where hope painted their otherwise bleak existence. But behind the smiles lay a battle. Emily juggled 2 jobs, each shift stacking on her weary bones, all for the sake of Lily's future. Money was tight, and the fear of bills being overdue clutched at her like a vice. She wanted the best for her daughter, a chance at life she never had. When she overheard her boss dismiss her dreams, waving a hand as though they were nothing, Emily felt a sharp sting, a reminder of just how small she seemed in this big world. "Why don't you know your place, Emily?" he sneered, chuckling with his rich allies over their lavish lunch. That day, Emily's heart sank. Walking home, she avoided the gazes of townsfolk, holding back tears as resentment wrapped around her. She didn't want to be the struggling single mother. Yet, fate had different plans. Mr. Thompson, an elderly veteran living next door, knocked one sunny afternoon. His skin was weathered but his eyes sparkled with stories of resilience. They bonded quickly, sharing stories and laughter. He taught her about strength and grit, igniting a fire within. "You've got this, Emily. You just need to believe," he said. As the fair loomed closer, Emily transformed. The scholarship offered by the town was within her reach, but so were the skeptical glares from neighbors. "What does she think she can win?" they whispered. The weight of judgment pressed heavily upon her shoulders, each scornful look threatening to pull her back down. Then came the day of the fair. Balloons swayed in the breeze and the smell of funnel cakes filled the air. As Emily prepared her booth, she felt that fire flickering again, lively and warm. It was time to shine, not just for herself, but for Lily. In a surprising turn of events, amid the whirlwind of chaos, she found herself in a moment of pure clarity. A child cried by a toppled stand, candy scattered everywhere. Without a second thought, Emily rushed to help, gathering sweets and offering kind words. Spectators watched, eyes wide, as she lifted the child's chin with a gentle hand. Just then, a murmur swept through the crowd. "Look at her. She's not just a competitor, she's part of our community." It struck Emily in that heartbeat this was the moment. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As the sun dipped low, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple, Emily stood there, heart racing. Would her act of kindness resonate deeper than her struggle? Would her compassion challenge the cynicism that shadowed Maplewood? The answer loomed large in the air as she caught sight of Lily, clad in a sparkly dress, eyes shining with pride. Could this be the turning point, not just for them, but for the whole town? The question lingered like the sweet scent of cotton candy, leaving the night full of possibilities. As the night deepened, the fair glowed with life around Emily. Laughter floated through the air, intertwining with the sounds of music and chatter, creating a vibrant symphony that filled her heart with warmth. But in that moment, her thoughts were still on the child she had helped. She had felt something shift, a whisper from the universe telling her she belonged here, that tonight was not just about competing for a scholarship, but also about community. With renewed resolve, Emily focused on her booth. There it stood, adorned with a colorful banner and handmade crafts, each piece a testament to her late nights of labor and love. People began to wander by, glancing at her display, first with curiosity and then, she hoped, with admiration. It was all she could do to recommend her wares with a smile. "Mommy, look!" Lily squealed, pointing to an artist painting faces. "Can I get mine done?" Her eyes sparkled with excitement, and Emily's heart swelled. It was moments like these that reminded her why she fought so hard. "Of course, sweetheart," Emily replied, her voice gentle despite the weight of apprehension. It seemed like everyone was focused on their own joys, their own dreams, momentarily forgetting the whispers that trailed her. She turned back to her booth, hoping her creative energy would shine as brightly as the glitter on Lily's cheeks. As the night unfurled, Emily's booth began to attract a crowd. Curious townsfolk leaned in, asking about her creations and even sharing their own stories. Each interaction felt like a step toward something greater. But then, from the corner of her eye, she spotted someone from her old life. It was Virginia, that harsh judgmental neighbor she had dreaded facing. "Can you believe Emily is here?" Virginia's scornful voice carried over the crowd, tinged with disdain yet tinged with intrigue. "What a waste of time." Emily's heart dropped for a moment, vulnerability clawing at her. But instead of retreating into the shadows, she squared her shoulders. She could show them. She could prove that a single act of kindness could ripple, pushing against the tide of judgment. The evening climaxed when Mr. Thompson made his way over, eyes bright with pride. "You good people of Maplewood," he called out loudly, capturing attention. "Look at this incredible woman right here. Emily has reminded us how a little kindness can spread goodwill far and wide." The onlookers exchanged glances, some with raised eyebrows, others with smiles. Emily felt heat flood her face. Was this really happening? Could she be the change? Encouraged, she began talking about her crafts. "Every piece tells a story of hope," she said, her voice steady. "Each one is a step forward, built with love, built with dreams." The crowd leaned in closer, their skepticism slowly melting, but just as her words seemed to weave a tapestry of connection, a loud crash interrupted the energy. Emily turned to see a group of teenagers had toppled a booth next to hers. Gasps filled the air, eyes darting suspiciously. Was this a sign that all her progress could unravel? Lily dashed towards the chaos, shouting above the noise. "Stop! Let us help!" But could Emily push through that boundary of fear and despair again? This moment could break her, or it could define her. Would she take another step toward embracing her community? Would the town rally around her? The stakes had never been higher, and as she took a deep breath, she realized she had a choice to make. The question hung in the air, just like the intoxicating aroma of caramel apples. What would Emily decide, and would it lead to the very transformation she sought? Emily's heart raced as she stared at the collapsed booth. The chaos swirled around her like a storm, but amidst the noise, one voice rang clear: Lily's. Her daughter was already rushing toward the fallen display, her small frame determined amidst the confusion. "Mommy, we have to help!" Lily shouted, her voice cutting through the tension. Emily felt a rush of gratitude. Lily was fearless. Taking a tentative step forward, Emily's gaze flitted back to Virginia. The woman's smirk only deepened, her judgment slicing through the air like a knife. But this was more than a moment of personal pride. Emily had a choice to make, and it wasn't just for herself, it was for Lily and for everyone who believed in her even if they hadn't said it out loud. Without another thought, she moved toward the mess, determination igniting in her chest. "Everyone! We need to help lift this booth back up." Her voice rang out with sincerity. People paused, glancing her way. One by one, faces turned from skepticism to willingness. Two teens who had originally caused the fall started to help, their own embarrassment evident. As they joined in, others followed, bridging the gaps of judgment and fear with a shared goal. "Come on!" Emily urged, her heart swelling with each new face that joined. "We can do this together." The surge of energy was electric. Hands reached out, arms hooked around the heavy frame of the booth. Emily positioned herself beside Lily, encouraging her daughter to help push. The unity began to form a tapestry of hope. Laughter soon lightened the air as people shouted words of encouragement, pulling in tandem until the booth was righted once more. The crowd erupted into applause. "Look at us. We did it." Lily beamed, and Emily couldn't help but mirror her daughter's joy. "Together." Emily echoed, feeling the knot of tension in her stomach begin to unravel. But she knew this was just the beginning. The crowd was still there, and they were watching. Emily took a deep breath and faced them all, feeling the warmth of their collective energy. "In times of chaos, we can choose kindness," she said, her voice strong but soft. "We can choose to lift each other up, not just physically but in every way." More eyes sparkled with understanding, a realization settling over them. Virginia's expression shifted subtly, doubt replaced by something resembling respect. There was power in vulnerability, and this moment proved it. The crowd began to disperse, some lingered, gathering around Emily's booth once again, now more engaged. Their discomfort had turned into curiosity, and Emily felt ready to share. But then Lily tugged at her arm, her eyes wide. "Mom! Can we get a picture with that artist?" Emily turned, and suddenly, she saw a vibrant mural in the background, colors exploding against the night sky, filled with images of community and love. It sparked something deep within her, a sense of purpose she never anticipated. "Absolutely," she agreed, feeling hopeful as they both raced toward the artist's display. But behind her, she heard Virginia's voice again, directed at someone else. "Can you believe she is still trying?" The sting of her words could have cut deep, but Emily's heart was now a fortress. Perhaps this was about much more than her. It was about reminding herself and everyone around that even in adversity, beauty could flourish. As they posed for the photograph, laughter flowing around them, Emily felt a shift. This night wasn't just a competition, it was a celebration of resilience. "Mommy, can we take more pictures like this? With everyone?" Lily's enthusiasm was infectious, lighting up Emily's heart. "Of course, sweet girl," she replied, a smile stretching across her face. But just as they turned to capture the moment, a loud announcement echoed over the fairgrounds. "Attention, everyone! It's time for the scholarship winner to be announced." Emily's breath hitched. The moment was here. Everything she'd worked for, all the kindness she had shown, would soon be recognized. What would it mean for her? For Lily? With a pounding heart, she exchanged a glance. With her daughter? Would the night culminate in triumph or disappointment? The anticipation hung thick around them, and for Emily, the answer she sought loomed ahead, shrouded in suspense. The crowd murmured with anticipation, their eyes glued to the stage where a spotlight began to dance across the fairgrounds. Emily's heart raced, a mix of excitement and fear surging through her. She felt Lily's small hand grip hers tightly, grounding her amidst the whirlwind of emotions. "Mommy, what if you win?" Lily's voice was filled with hope, innocent and sincere, and it made Emily's heart swell. It was a question she had allowed herself to envision countless times, yet had purposely shied away from thinking too seriously, a way to protect her heart from potential disappointment. I don't know, sweetheart. But I hope we find out soon." Her voice trembled, but Lily's bright eyes filled with encouragement pushed her to hold on to that hope a little longer. The announcer's voice boomed through the fairgrounds, drawing everyone's attention. "This year, we have seen some incredible talent and passion from our finalists." Each name had a weight of its own, one that could either lift Emily or crush her dreams. She heard them call out names of others, equally deserving, equally hardworking. Each announcement felt like a countdown to the moment that would change everything. Then, the announcer paused dramatically. "And the winner of this year's scholarship is." A collective breath was held. There was an almost electric quality to the tension in the air. Emily Harris. Their names echoed like a bright bell, cutting through the noise. For a heartbeat, everything went still. Emily blinked, frozen. Did she hear right? Lily squealed with delight, almost toppling over as she jumped in excitement. Mommy! You won! You won! Her voice lifted, bringing Emily back to the moment. Just as her daughter's joy ignited a warmth in her chest, an overwhelming rush of disbelief and joy surged to replace the fear she had been holding. Suddenly, she was being swept up in a wave of people. Familiar faces emerged from the crowd, celebrating her victory. Laughter and applause surrounded her, the joy of the moment buzzing in the air like electricity. Emily tried to respond, but all she could manage was a shaky smile, tears brimming in her eyes. Rushing to the stage, Emily felt her heart hammering. The announcer extended a microphone toward her, and she grasped it with trembling fingers. The crowd clapped rhythmically, urging her to say something, anything. Thank you so much. This means more than I can express, she began, her voice steadying. I did not do this alone. It is the support of every one of you, the community that believes in lifting each other up, that helped me through this journey. As she looked over the crowd, her gaze met Virginia's. For the first time, there was no disdain, only a flicker of something else, perhaps admiration. It was a monumental moment, a reminder that growth often comes from unexpected places. A cheer rang out as Emily concluded, "Let us continue to support one another. Together, we can create something beautiful." The crowd erupted, and as she stepped down from the stage, Lily enveloped her in a hug so tight it almost felt like the two of them could float away. "Mommy, I knew you could do it," Lily exclaimed with a sparkle in her eyes that made Emily's heart flutter with pride. Emily knelt down, wiping the tears from her cheeks. "Thank you for believing in me, Lily. You are my biggest supporter." At that moment, surrounded by laughter and joy, Emily realized that the night was not just about her winning a scholarship. It was the camaraderie, the connections formed through shared experiences, that mattered most. She began to see that tonight was an invitation to open herself to even more possibilities. Suddenly, at the fringe of the crowd, Emily spotted someone lingering, a figure who hadn't engaged with the celebration, whose eyes held a mix of surprise and reflection. It was the artist, the one whose mural had ignited her sense of purpose. As she moved toward him, excitement bubbling within her, she felt the urge to connect, to understand what his art represented to him. Little did she know, that moment would reveal much more than she had anticipated. What hidden story awaited her as she approached the artist? Would it deepen her understanding of herself and the community around her? Emily pushed through the jubilant crowd, the sounds of celebration enveloping her like a warm blanket. Her heart fluttered with anticipation, but as she got closer to the artist, the joy around her began to fade, replaced with a quiet curiosity. He stood apart, his face partially hidden behind a cascade of tousled hair, the remnants of celebration a world away from his thoughtful gaze. "Hi," she said, a little breathless. "I loved your mural. It spoke to me." He turned, surprise flickering in his eyes. "Thank you," he murmured, his voice low yet resonant. "I didn't think anyone really saw it." "Are you kidding?" Emily replied, her excitement spilling out. It was like it came alive. It told a story. She hesitated, sensing a depth in him. "What inspired you?" He glanced back at the mural, sheer indifference slipping across his face. "It was just thoughts that came together during a tough time. I thought maybe it could connect with someone, even just one person." "More than one, I assure you." "It connected with me." Emily stepped closer, hoping to bridge the distance that lay between them. "You have a gift. There's power in what you created." His gaze held hers for a moment longer, searching. "Power, or pressure?" His lips twisted slightly, a hint of a smile, but his eyes betrayed a shadow. She shifted, suddenly conscious of the crowd's joyful noise surrounding them. "What do you mean?" "The expectations of art," he explained. "They can suffocate you. Sometimes I wish I could just create without caring what people think." Emily felt a wave of understanding wash over her. She had grappled with similar feelings, never enough to pursue her dreams fully until tonight. Art is a conversation, she said softly. It's about connection. Just as I felt when I saw your mural, it's about sharing your truth. Isn't that worth it? His gaze softened, and for a moment, she saw a flicker of hope ignite within him. You really believe that? I know it, she replied, feeling the bond between them form, like threads weaving a tapestry. I just won a scholarship tonight because I learned to embrace my voice. I want to inspire others to do the same. He raised an eyebrow, intrigued. What will you do with it, then? How will you use your voice? I want to create projects that connect people, just like your mural connected me. I want to explore the stories in our community and show how we can uplift one another. That's what tonight is about, community. There was a long pause as he considered her words. Emily's heart pounded in her chest. The artist's hesitance reflected doubts she recognized from her own journey. They were two souls searching for purpose in the eyes of art, struggling to find their paths in a world often filled with noise. Maybe all I need is a little push, he said finally, a hint of a smile dawning as he looked at her. She grinned, feeling buoyed by his openness. Then let's push each other. You can start by teaching me how you express feelings through your art. We can create something together. The artist chuckled softly, and the tension in his posture eased. That sounds like a challenge. I think I'm ready for it. Just then, a child laughed nearby, pulling Emily's attention back to Lily, who was bouncing around with her new friends. The sight tugged at Emily's heart. There was a magic in that laughter, a reminder of the joy and the connections they had all created both in the art and beyond it. Come on, she said, feeling suddenly excited. Let's join them before it gets too late. As they walked together, she leaned in closer, her heart racing with the thrill of newfound connections. But as they turned the corner, something made her stop. Another mural hung on the wall, unfinished and unapologetically bold. This one, what is it about? The artist hesitated before responding, a flicker of hesitation playing across his features. That one tells a different story. One I've been afraid to share. Suddenly, she felt a sense of urgency building. What if I could help? What if sharing that story is what we both need? His eyes widened ever so slightly, but he didn't answer just yet. Could this lead to something deeper? Would they unlock the stories within them together? The night was still young, and the potential shimmered like stars above. As they stepped closer to the mural, Emily felt the weight of uncertainty lifting. She realized this moment could be the spark that ignited a transformation for both of them. But would it light the fire she hoped for? As Emily leaned closer to the mural, the colors blurred into a whirlwind of emotions. Each stroke of paint seemed to pulse with an intensity that mirrored the artist's own struggle. She could see it in the way he looked at it, a silent battle raging behind his thoughtful gaze. Can you tell me what it's about? She asked gently, her voice slicing through the ambient noise of the festival. He turned towards her, his expression tightening. It's complicated. It's about loss, and how it shapes us. I started it when I lost someone important to me. Her heart twisted at the vulnerability etched in his features. That sounds heavy, she said, not wanting to pry, but feeling the need to encourage him to talk. But it's so real, so raw. That's what art should be. His gaze drifted back to the mural. I'm afraid to expose those feelings. What if no one connects with it? What if they do? Emily interjected, stepping closer, feeling the invisible thread pulling them together. What if this mural helps someone else heal, just like your first one did for me? He studied her, his brows furrowing in thought. The crowd around them continued to laugh and dance, but here, under the glow of streetlights and the vivid colors of his artwork, it felt like they were the only two people in the universe. I've always been scared of putting my pain out there. What if it falls flat? He murmured, almost to himself. It won't, she said, a resolute strength rising in her voice. Your story matters. It could be the one thing that helps someone not feel so alone. There's beauty in revealing ourselves, even the messy parts. He seemed to weigh her words carefully, a flicker of hope igniting in his eyes. I appreciate that you care. It's rare. Before she could respond, Lily came bounding back, her hair bouncing with energy. Emily. Can I paint too? She asked eagerly, clutching a small palette. Emily smiled at her enthusiasm. Of course. But only if you promise to share your colors with us. Lily nodded vigorously, brandishing her palette like a trophy. The artist chuckled, the tension in his stance easing further as he watched the little girl. Looks like we have our first collaborator, he said, the hint of a smile breaking through his earlier seriousness. Let's start something amazing then. Emily turned back to him, fired up with the idea. Can I help you finish this mural? It deserves a voice, your voice. And with Lily's colors, it'll be even more alive. He hesitated, scanning her eager face, the child's excitement radiating around them. Slowly, he nodded. Okay. But this will be different. I want to dig deeper. If you're willing to help me share it all. Yes. She replied, feeling the thrill surge through her veins. Let's make something impactful together. With that, they gathered their supplies, earning curious glances from festival-goers as they prepared to paint side by side. Emily felt like electricity flowed between them, as if the very act of creating could transform not just the empty wall, but the heaviness they both carried. As they began to work, the artist would occasionally look at her, as if trying to gauge her reaction to his every stroke. And Emily, lost in the moment, felt a kindred spirit blooming between them, weaving their stories into a vibrant tapestry. But just as they were getting into a rhythm, a distant shout rang out, breaking the concentration. A figure in the crowd came barreling towards them, breathlessly alarmed. There's been an accident. Someone needs help. Now. Emily's heart sank, the joyful atmosphere dissipating into chaos. Whispers of concern spread through the crowd as people began to gather. The artist looked at her, wide-eyed. What happened? In that instant, she realized, their journey together was about to take an unforeseen turn. Would their newfound connection withstand the challenges that were suddenly looming before them? As she stood amidst the growing tension, Emily grasped the paintbrush tighter, uncertain of what lay ahead but knowing their chance to connect and to create was hanging by a thread. The crowd buzzed with confusion, the festive atmosphere collapsing like a house of cards. Emily felt her pulse quicken. She glanced at the artist, whose brows were knitted with concern. We should see what happened, she suggested, though her stomach twisted at the thought. Yeah, we should, he replied, his voice shaky but determined. They left their paintbrushes behind, the vibrant colors meant to brighten the wall now dulled by the urgency around them. As they pushed through the crowd, Emily caught glimpses of anxious faces, everyone craned to get a look, hope and fear swirling in the air like the winds of a summer storm. The shout echoed again, make way. We need space. They rounded a corner and found the source of the chaos, a young man kneeling beside an elderly woman, who was lying on the grass, motionless. Panic surged through Emily, the woman's face was pale, her breathing shallow. Someone call an ambulance. Someone shouted, but it felt too distant. The artist moved closer, instinctively crouching next to the woman. Is she okay? Can anyone help? He called out, his voice cracking. Emily knelt beside him, her heart in her throat. I think she's unconscious, he said, his hands shaking slightly as he reached for the woman's wrist to check for a pulse. He looked at her, fear etched in his eyes. Emily. Holding her breath, she leaned forward, feeling the weight of the panic in the atmosphere. She placed her hand gently on the old woman's shoulder. Ma'am? Can you hear me? The woman stirred slightly but did not awaken. Emily's chest tightened as the reality settled in the life of a person, vulnerable and fragile, lay before them amidst the celebration. It's going to be okay, the artist said, uncertainty coated his voice. "Help is coming. Just hold on." Around them, spectators were murmuring, exchanging glances, the excitement of the festival fading into something deeper: human compassion. Lily appeared at Emily's side, her small face alight with unease. "Is she okay?" Her innocence was palpable. The artist took a quick moment to reassure her. "We're going to make sure she's okay. Just stay close." His presence grounded Emily as she held the woman's hand, feeling its warmth against her palm. "You're not alone. Help is on the way," she whispered, hoping against hope that her words would somehow reach the woman's subconscious. Minutes stretched into what felt like hours. They waited, anxiety rippling through the crowd. Finally, the distant wail of sirens broke through the tension. Relief washed over her, but it was mixed with dread. As paramedics arrived, the atmosphere shifted again, this time filled with urgency. They took charge, assessing the situation quickly yet calmly. The artist stepped aside, drawing in the raw emotions swirling within him. "I didn't expect to spend my festival like this," he murmured, watching intently. The weight of his earlier fears felt heavier as they stood in the face of life's unpredictability. "I didn't either," Emily replied, feeling a strange bond form as they shared this moment of vulnerability. "But it reminds us of what really matters." He looked at her, searching for something in her eyes, and Emily suddenly realized the depth of the connection they had formed amid the chaos. As the paramedics lifted the woman onto a stretcher, the artist reached for Emily's hand, their fingers intertwining in a slight yet significant gesture of solidarity. "I wanted this mural to say something important, but maybe," he paused, glancing over at the crowd, "it's what we do for each other that really matters." Emily nodded, her heart swelling with understanding. "Yes. And sometimes it takes moments like this to truly see." Just then, a chorus of applause erupted from the crowd as the paramedics loaded the woman into the ambulance. A glimmer of hope kindled. Emily looked up at the artist, the realization dawning on her. "I think we're both about to start something even bigger than a mural," he said softly, a spark igniting in his gaze. But the night was far from over. Just beyond them, someone shouted again, this time with an urgency that sent chills down her spine. They turned to listen, both feeling the tremor of fate shift beneath their feet. What was about to unfold next? Emily's heart raced at the new shout. It pierced through the lingering tension like a scream in a quiet theater. The crowd turned once more, a collective wave of curiosity and concern washing over them. The artist tightened his grip on her hand, and they exchanged a brief, knowing glance. A man burst into the group, breathless and wild-eyed. "There's a little girl. She's lost." His voice trembled as he gestured wildly toward the nearby playground. It lay just beyond the mural, forgotten now under the evening sky that was beginning to glow with twilight. The crowd froze for a heartbeat, disbelief hanging thick in the air. The artist caught Emily's eye, a spark of determination igniting behind his expression. "Let us go," he said, his voice firm. "We can help." They pushed through the throngs of people who hesitated, caught between the urgency of the moment and their own fears. Emily felt a surge of adrenaline course through her as they moved, knowing they were stepping into another crisis. As they reached the playground, the artist called out, "Where is she?" The little girl's name echoed in the man's frantic response, but it felt distant, muffled by the background noise of commotion. Panic tightened around Emily once more. "Lily!" Emily yelled, hoping against hope that her own little sister would hear her. They searched the swings, the slides, and the wooden fort that jutted high, but there was no sign of the girl. Emily's heart sank, and her breaths came harder. "What if she's scared?" she thought, looking desperately around. Then she heard its small, muffled sobs drifting from behind the climbing structure. She ran toward the sound. "Lily!" She ducked low, peering beneath the wooden beams. A small figure sat curled up, tears streaming down her cheeks. "Lily, it's okay. I'm here," Emily called, her voice trembling with relief and urgency. The little girl looked up, her face smeared with dirt and fear. "I lost you, I tried to find you," she whispered, the sobs breaking through. The artist dropped beside her, his smile gentle yet steady. "Hey there, you're not alone anymore. We've been looking for you." In that moment, the chaos of the festival faded into the background. Emily crawled forward and wrapped Lily in her arms, feeling the warmth and weight of her sister against her heart. "I was so scared," Lily murmured, clinging tightly. As they stood up, Emily's eyes met the artist's, and something flickered between them. They had found more than just a lost girl. They had rediscovered a bond amidst their shared urgency, a connection deepened by the vulnerability of the moment. The crowd began to congregate around them, clapping and cheering softly, their earlier worries replaced with relief. It was a small victory, yet it breathed life back into the festival that had floundered just moments before. Emily felt the warmth of hope settle in her chest, but it wasn't just for the girl they had saved. As the cheers faded, the artist looked at Emily, and she could see the wheels turning in his mind. "We've all got a story," he said quietly. "But maybe it's the moments of connection that overlap that create something beautiful." There was an undeniable warmth in his voice, an invitation. Emily felt a flutter in her stomach, mixed excitement and fear intertwining. Just then, a loud bang echoed from the festival area. The heart of the celebration had been reignited with fireworks, painting the night sky in brilliant colors. They all turned to watch, eyes wide in awe, as the sparks danced above them, a dazzling display of life and renewal, but that same urgency flickered in her mind. So much had changed in a single night. What would happen next? As the colors settled into the dark sky, something inside Emily felt ready to shift again. She didn't know what or how, but she was certain this night held even more surprises, and her heart raced at the thought. "Let us make our own masterpiece," she suggested, turning back to the artist, excitement bubbling within her. His eyes brightened with possibility. "What did you have in mind?" And just like that, the weight of uncertainty shifted once more. What new chapter were they about to begin together? Emily's mind danced with possibilities as the artist's question lingered in the air. She glanced down at Lily, who still clung to her side, eyes wide and trusting. There was something about this moment, the thrill of the festival, the recent drama, they all combined to awaken a spark of creativity inside her. "What if we paint?" Emily blurted, a rush of excitement bubbling up. It was a bold idea, but the night felt ripe for boldness. "Right here. Right now." The artist's face lit up as if she had offered him a treasure map. "A mural? Just us?" His voice was filled with enthusiasm, and Emily felt a rush of energy from his response. She nodded, her heartbeat quickening. "Yes. We can use those colors in the sky, the firework hues. We can capture the joy of finding Lily, of all these people coming together." Lily's eyes sparkled, too. "Can I help?" Her small voice rang with hope, and Emily couldn't help but smile. The little girl had a way of capturing light even in dark moments. "Of course, you can," Emily replied, her heart warming at the idea of bonding with her sister through art. As they gathered supplies, Emily felt a current of excitement. This wasn't just about painting, it was about creating something meaningful together, forging new paths in their lives. There was a collective energy, a sense that they were all part of something larger. The artist quickly found brushes and paint, and they all decided on a blank wall, close to the playground where Lily had been lost. It was a fresh canvas for a fresh start, and Emily imagined the colors they would splash across it. Once they gathered around the wall, she took a deep breath, her fingers tingling with anticipation. "Let us start with the outline." She led the way, sketching a simple figure of Lily, arms wide, eyes smiling. The artist and Lily followed suit, adding swirls and bursts of color that mimicked the fireworks lighting the sky. The surrounding crowd began to take notice, drawn in by the infectious energy. One by one, people stepped forward, eager to join in. They brought their own paint, their own ideas. A mother added soft yellow flowers while a few teens injected vibrant orange strokes that echoed the fireworks. Emily stepped back, taking it all in. The lively scene became a symphony of colors and laughter. She couldn't believe how quickly something so spontaneous had drawn a community together. With each brushstroke, she felt lighter, like the burdens she carried were melting away. "Look!" Lily exclaimed, pointing at the heart shape they had formed in the center of the mural. "It's perfect." But just then, the artist turned to Emily, the intensity of his gaze grounding her amidst the chaos. This is really special," he said, his voice sincere. "Have you ever thought about pursuing art seriously?" Her heart raced again, this time from the weight of his words. "I never thought I could," she admitted softly, feeling exposed but liberated in the acceptance of this budding passion. The moment hung in the air, electric and uncertain, yet so raw. She thought back to everything: the lost little girl, the frantic chaos, and now this beautiful unfolding. Maybe there was a path waiting for her in the art world. As they painted, the mural's colors became brighter, bolder. The crowd cheered them on, the communal spirit igniting a sense of joy that rippled through everyone present. But amidst it all, a familiar pull within her began to twist uneasily. What if they finished this and nothing changed? No, she thought defiantly. This is just the beginning. As the last colors were applied and the mural began to take shape, a new fire crackled inside of her. She felt poised on the edge of a new chapter, full of uncharted paths and choices that could change everything. Emily turned back to the artist, her heart full of determination. "Let us make it unforgettable." But as they celebrated their work, a quiet voice suddenly broke through. The frantic cries of another lost child echoed in the distance, and Emily felt that familiar rush of urgency wash over her again. What now? What would unfold next? The vibrant mural stood complete, a riot of colors and laughter, a symbol of every joyful moment that sparked the connection between Emily, Lily, and the artist. As they stepped back to admire their work, the applause of the crowd washed over them, but just then, a new shout pierced through the festive air. "Help! There's a little boy wandering near the road. He's lost." A sudden urgency swept through the assembled crowd, pushing them into a whirl of movement. Emily felt her heart drop. A child alone, scared, it struck her with an overwhelming wave of fear. Without thinking, she turned to the artist. "We have to go." "Let us find him," he agreed, determination hardening his voice. Together, they forged their way through the mass of people, hand in hand, hearts racing with a purpose that would have seemed unimaginable just hours before. As they reached the edge of the fairgrounds, the noise of celebration faded into a tense quiet, the sounds of laughter replaced by whispers of concern. Emily's eyes scanned the surrounding park, the swings swaying lazily, the rides standing still like sentinels under the moon. Where could he be? Her mind raced with fear. What if they didn't find him in time? They split up, weaving through the maze of tents and people, calling out, "Hey! Are you there?" Each second felt like an eternity, hope and dread battling within her. "Over here." The artist's voice broke through the fog of her thoughts. She turned just in time to see him crouching next to a small bush, a little boy trembling and clutching a stuffed puppy. Relief surged through Emily at the sight. "There you are." She rushed over. "We've been looking for you. You're safe now." The boy looked up with wide, tear-stained eyes. "I was looking for my mommy." His voice cracked, trembling as much as the stuffed toy in his hands. "Let us find her together," the artist reassured, kneeling beside him. "What's your name?" "Jamie," he sniffled, clutching the toy tighter as if it were a lifeline. "Okay, Jamie," Emily said gently. "Let us get you back to your mom. Can you tell us where you last saw her?" With a heavy heart buoyed by the warmth of community, Emily felt every doubt she had melt away. "What's that way?" She gestured to the direction where the last sounds of shrill laughter echoed. "I think she went toward the cotton candy tent," Jamie shouted, hope igniting in his bright eyes. Let us go, little buddy. The trio surged forward, their spirits intertwined in shared urgency. As they moved through the festival, people began to notice. The spirit of connection spread like wildfire. Murmurs turned into encouragement, and as they neared the cotton candy stall, the bustling crowd parted reluctantly, and then, there she was. Jamie's mother, frantic and pale, spinning around in circles, her voice breaking as she called his name. Relief washed over Emily as they approached. "Mom!" Jamie cried out, launching himself into her arms, love washing away every fear. The reunion enveloped them both like a warm embrace. Tears of joy streamed down the mother's face, and gratitude radiated from her as she looked at Emily and the artist. "Thank you. You found him." "No need to thank us," Emily replied, offering a reassuring smile. "It's what we do for each other that counts." As they exchanged grateful glances, the artist's eyes locked with Emily's once more. In that moment, they both understood they weren't just artists working alone, they were part of something bigger. The lessons of the night were coiling around them, bonding a community through every act of kindness and every story shared. Suddenly, Jamie pulled at his mother's sleeve. "Can we go see the mural everyone's painting? You've painted together?" she asked with awe in her voice. "Together," the artist confirmed, pride swelling within him. "Let us show you," Jamie urged, excitement bubbling over his initial concern. The group moved back towards the mural, the crowd shifting as they followed. As they reached the wall, a barrier of voices erupted with joy. They all admired the mural in its glory, colors blending in a harmony that represented not just the individual stories but the fabric of Maplewood itself. It was alive, much like the love binding them all together. "Wow!" Jamie exclaimed, his eyes shining bright like stars, his earlier fears dissipating into the backdrop of colors. "Can I help paint too?" Emily felt a wave of warmth wrap around her heart. "You can be our next collaborator," she said, winking at the artist. It felt symbolic, lending Jamie a brush, encouraging him to add his laughter to the community tapestry. As the night unfurled, the sky darkening overhead, more and more people joined in, laughter and paint mixing together to continue their story. In that moment, Emily felt liberated. She understood that every brush stroke was not just an escape but a celebration of collective resilience, a way to push the weight of the world away for just a little while. "This is just the beginning," she whispered to the artist, and he nodded, his eyes sparkling with unspoken dreams. With each added color, they created a living mural, a testament to unity, to healing, and to believing that they could carve a piece into history together. As the festival wound to a close, Emily looked around at the faces of the town, familiar and new, young and old, each one carrying a story worth telling. A radiant smile crossed her face. Sometimes, it starts with a single act of kindness, a spark of hope that lights up darkness. And as fireworks began to dance again in the night sky above, Emily felt the electric energy of the moment wrap around her, a new beginning waiting to be carved out, a community reborn anew. This was not just the end, this was the start of everything. Now more than ever, Emily knew with each other, they could do it all. So as the night unfolded with laughter, stories, and dreams, the call to share this journey echoed in the air, the call to continue creating, connecting, and inspiring. And in that moment, she knew one thing for sure: this was her community, her family, and the canvas of their lives was just beginning. Before you go, I have to tell you, you need to subscribe now to catch our next incredible journey. This is the moment to show your support. Hit that like button now to feed the algorithm. Also, drop a comment sharing your thoughts and feelings about tonight's magical ending. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to witness this amazing transformation. Let us keep this beautiful story going.